Oh, this is the thing. I have not been to St. Louis much, but I got in last night, and I've had a great time so far. You have a beautiful, beautiful city. You have a beautiful museum. Lots of stolen art. Lots of, like, y'all got it good. Like, I was looking around like, wow, that's from Egypt. Ooh. And he really in there too. That's crazy. Oh, I had some great pancakes. You know, this has been wonderful, and the people here are incredibly sweet, incredibly nice. Yeah, this is like. But y'all have some. Y'all do have some demons, all right? Like this is chaotic. Like, y'all have the Midwest nice on lock. I'm just saying, a cut below that. Like, a paper cut below that. Y'all are wildin'. Like, so I flew in. I didn't have a car, so I've taken like 4 Ubers since I've been here for very short trips, right? Very short. We're talking less than $10 trips, just over here to over here, because I don't know if I'm gonna make it on foot, right? Like, this is not the most walkable city. Like, I walked out of my hotel thinking, like, I'll just take a walk. And I looked both ways, and I looked, and the way that this truck zoomed past me, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and order, you know, just so I have some armor around me. And the dude driving couldn't have been nicer. I get in, he's like, Josh. I was like, yeah, wow, you really excited, like, you know me. That's crazy. Excited to see you. I get in, and we're talking about the day and everything. And then I don't know, like, truly out of nowhere, my man just looks ahead, and his whole face changes, and he yells out in the car. So his windows aren't down. Nobody can hear him but me. This is for nobody but him and I. This man goes, it doesn't take 2 lanes to turn right. And I don't know if this is how everybody is driving. I don't know if this is like the 4th time this has happened today. But the way he snapped, I thought he was going to get out of the car. And not like stop the car and get the other guy to stop and get out and fight. I mean, Mission Impossible, leave me behind. Get out of the window while the wheel is still turning. This has been, oh, wow. Like, y'all really have some people out here where I'm like, okay, all right. That's a real New Yorker. You just don't know it. Like, you've been raised here. So then you're like, no, let's be polite, make eye contact and everything. But then the way that just, there was a guy, okay, so it wasn't even, like, y'all don't have the busiest walkways, okay? So there's really only I was walking today. Everybody else was in a vehicle. And so I saw these 2 guys. I can't remember the name of the grocery store now, but like I was in the grocery store, and these 2 guys bumped into each other, and they both like over apologized, right? They both bumped in, and he was, I'm sorry, and the other guy was like, I'm so sorry, brother. I wasn't even paying attention to you. And he's like, well, what's on your mind, buddy? And he's like, I've just been going through a lot, you know what I mean? Other man was like, well, you know, this is what the grocery store is for, to meet people, to talk about things. I was like in the distance just getting disgusted. I was like, when are y'all gonna fight already? This is gross. Did y'all have a good Halloween? No? Okay. I know it's over, but I'm like the opposite. I talk about Halloween and watch horror movies way longer after Halloween is over. I'm like the opposite of the Christmas people, because some of the Christmas people have already started. broken out the Mariah Carey. They've already done certain stuff. And I'm still stuck on Halloween. It was one of my favorite holidays growing up. And my grandma would sometimes take me trick-or-treating. And my grandma was one of my favorite people. And I remember it was one year she took me, I think I dressed up as Superman or something, and she had me, and she loved to take me places. This is one of my core memories, right? My grandma sees me in my little Superman outfit, and she's like, "You go, Superman." And then I did a little cape thing. I was like, "Oh." And then she's got me hand in hand, and we decided to, go to a couple houses, go trick-or-treating. Now, this was not the best neighborhood, so there was going to be very little trick-or-treating, period. Like, this is already, anybody who's from a place that is not where you want to stay knows what I'm talking about. So we go up to the first house, and I knock on the door. They open, I'm like, "Trick-or-treat," and then they give me a little, maybe 2-3 pieces of candy. And then in the distance, we hear some gunshots. And then my grandma was like, "Can you give him a couple extra pieces? Because we gonna go back home right now." So this really is, not to put all the pressure on you, but like, come to think about it, you don't want to be opening your door that much tonight, so you might as well just give him the bag. I mean, and so we went back to my grandma's house, and I'm sitting there, and like, part of the joy trick-or-treat isn't just getting the candy. It's like going places, having the adults be like, "Oh, Superman, I had no idea," or whatever. Just the whole experience. And so the fact that I wasn't gonna get to do it, I was bummed out. I was like 8. I was just bummed out, right? And so after maybe 10 minutes passed, I turned to my grandma. I'm like, "Grandma, are you sure we can't go back out and trick-or-treat?" And I don't know if y'all who grew up in the South here, but Southern grandmas especially, they turn on you. They very, very sweet people, but as soon as you like cross, they just turn, right? So I'm like, "Grandma, can't we go trick-or-treat just for a little while?" And my grandma turns to me, she's like, "Boy, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Did you not hear the gunshot?" And then she made me sit there with her, right? And this took all 5 minutes. I don't want you to think she was torturing me or anything. But she sat with me there for 5 minutes and just made me count out the gunshots with her. And every once in a while, my grandma would be like, "That's you? That's you too." My grandma cracked me up because, especially anybody who has grandparents knows that in one form or another, your grandparents have lived long enough that they have some arch nemesis out there. They take different forms, but there was this one person that was one of my grandma's arch nemesis. We still don't know who it is, but they would come every Halloween to trick-or-treat, and my grandma hated that. She never wanted to give him candy because she was like, "That's an adult." Like, he little, but that's an adult. I know an adult when I see one. And then even I was kind of like, "Come on, just this the holiday and everything." She's like, "No, he grown, okay? I don't care how little he is, he grown. There's a holiday for the children. How he come every year and the same thing don't grow, all right? That's an adult." But Halloween also has its downsides, Like I had years when I lived in Chicago, people would come and trick-or-treat. And there was one year that I heard the trick-or-treat, and I opened the door, and it couldn't have been a bigger man. Like, it was, I was looking at him, and he was looking down at me, and he had a bag, but it wasn't even a bag, he had a pillowcase. And he was like, "Trick or treat." And like, I'm not even kidding. The dude, okay, so open door, the pillowcase is out, right? Like trick or treat. And then we stared at each other, and after a while, he was just like. And I'm trying to look behind him for a kid or something. I'm like, oh, do you have any kids? He's like, nah, it's just me, dog. You know what I mean? He looked like he robbed the candy, you know what I mean? Like, and now I got my door all open, my apartment exposed. You know, and so I was like, oh, you know, to try and make conversation while I fiddle for these mini-sized Snickers. Like, you know how when you know, okay, let's say you are in a parking lot and there's somebody chasing you like Freddy Krueger style, and you try to get the keys and the keys won't be keys. See what I'm talking about? Where you like struggling, you're like, come on now, come on. It's not even about the key, getting the key in the keyhole. It's about getting the keys in your hands, like getting some purchase on the keys. Like you're like, come on, come on. It was like that with the Snickers. None of the Snickers wanted to stay in my hand. I think I had sweat so much from how big this man was that all the Snickers are slipping. So I'm just in my little like. In the Snickers bag, trying to get a handful, and they just keep slipping through my fingers like they ain't all melted or something. And I'm trying to make conversation like, what are you supposed to be? And he was, this is the coldest shit I've ever heard in my life. He was really terrified. He looked at me, he was like, what am I supposed to be? I'm trick-or-treating. I was like, oh God, take the bag, take the bag. Take the whole bag. Oh my God. I've never heard trick or treat used as this is what I'm going as. Truly jarring. I don't know if y'all saw, but Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty on all charges. If you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he's the dude who looked like somebody microwave Shia LaBeouf. He was behind a multi-billion-dollar crypto scandal, and took a lot of people's money. Had a lot of powerful friends, so he could take a lot of people's money. He was found guilty, and he made a serious mistake. He stole money from rich people. Well, when you think about it, it's really all he did wrong. If you steal from the poor, you're going to be pretty good off. Like, I don't know. This dude is going to go away for a long time. Which is crazy, because I don't really understand what he did. But I'm glad he didn't do it to me. I'm like, you ever just, because I never got into crypto because I didn't understand it, so you ever just be so dumb you miss a whole tragedy? Because I saw the whole thing coming. Conviction in New York got overturned. Yeah, no, it's shocking. It's not just like clear that he did it more than people that do it. Do you know what I mean? That's why he's an outlier. He literally has stats. And I don't know. It's like you see him, and then you see like Cosby being out and everything, like fully out. Like he's like out. And it does just feel like if women want accountability for men like this, you can't just depend on the justice system, You're going to have to start probably killing. I really don't see any other way. I have a vested interest in you not killing. I'm a man. But still, I don't know. It just seems like there's no way around it. You know what I mean? And honestly, if you did start killing, right? If you started killing a lot of the bad ones, then you could probably believe us when we say we're the good ones. I'm alive. Isn't that proof? None of the women have killed me. You might have a gash on the arm or something, but that's just, had to keep you in line.
No. I think you're probably gonna have to do it. I really don't see any other way. Because people talk about patriarchy and everything, and sure, I understand, but you also have to remember that, like, as men, we're not all friends. I'm also scared of dangerous men. You know what I mean? And it's because they kill. So then if y'all kill too, that's really the only way to equality. You know what I mean? Like, that's... in a sad but, like, poetic way, that's... Because even if y'all started killing indiscriminately, you couldn't do worse than men. So just kill a little... Like, okay. I feel like y'all aren't rolling with what I'm saying. And that's fine. That's fine. This is a new idea for me too. Okay? But I'm saying I thought about it a lot. You know? Like, if I had a daughter, I'd buy her a knife. Maybe a gun, but definitely a knife. Because a knife, you can think about it. You know what I mean? Guns are too easy to be like, oops. You know, much harder to miss with a knife. You meant to poke who you poked, you know. I don't know. Because I think that as I say this, it sounds crazy, obviously, and that's good because it means that you're all, like, productive members of society and stuff. But, like, but when you really think about it, that's the score, right? Like alpha things are usually just being the most dangerous person around. That's why when they tell you when you go to jail, find the biggest dude and punch him in the nose like a shark or whatever they say. But, like, that's why they say that, because it's like that fear instills a calm, and the calm is safety. You know, like dangerous men are also scared, which is why they puff out their chests and act dangerous to get people off of them. You know, but if women started killing, we'd all be a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, there'd still be catcalls, they'd just be quieter. Do you know what I mean? You pass by, but then they see that you brandish it, right? They see you packing, and you packing low, like you got a sawed-off shotgun, just out in the open. They're like, that ass. That was him. That's... I don't know, baby. Because I hear these stories, and they're horrible. Like, I have friends tell me about how they've put keys in between their fingers at night as they're walking to their car, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but if you do my thing. Y'all acting like I'm being unreasonable and I'm trying to help. I've read a lot of history books. I'm just telling you what's going to work. I'm just saying, you know, level the playing field of general fear, and in a weird way, it might be a better world. You know? Maybe it could work, you know? Like if you do it for long enough, it changes whole attitudes of, like, an entire culture, of everyone. Because then they'll be like, yeah, she might kill, like, who knows? She might be a crazy one that kills, you know? But let's say the word is out that women kill now, and they kill as much as men, right? Now when you go in your boss's office and you close the door behind you and you ask for a raise, who knows? Maybe you kill. Or even just, if the word gets around that women are really out here killing indiscriminately, you know, crazy stuff, right? Because the way women do kill, I want to be clear about that. Women kill a lot, actually. They just do it to, like, people who they know, who they think deserve it. I'm talking about, like, killing across the board. Killing because you upset, you know what I mean? If the word got out that women are just out here killing, I think you would hear like a pack of guys, right? A pack of guys is usually what women are afraid of. 4 or 5 guys drunk walking down the street together, right? I've had my friends tell me that that's terrifying to them. Just whether it's going to be catcalls, whether it's going to be like cornering them, whether it's going to be something much, much worse, right? And it's because of the way that men are. It's because men kill. There are men that do horrible things. I'm not saying that women don't, but just by the numbers, you know? So if word got out that women kill, you'd see those 4 or 5 guys drunk, walking around, singing their song, la, 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 right? But then they would hear the click of stilettos. They look at each other like, bro, run! It could work. I'll leave it alone, but also, I don't know, consider it. I was stranded one time in Austin. And when I say stranded, I mean like my flight was so delayed that I got to Austin and the airport was like closed. You know what I mean? And I was so hungry, but obviously every other thing was closed. And Austin didn't have the boom that it had now, right? Like Austin wasn't this like bustling place that everyone moved to post-pandemic. Like it was just regular Austin, the way that the locals used to like it. You know what I mean? Before the money came. And there was no food. And so I was trying to like Uber Eats and like nothing was open. It was crazy to the point where I don't know why I did it, but I just left the hotel room and started walking. I was like, maybe I can just find something on foot, right? And I went down 6th Street and like 6th Street was closed. That's their Vegas. That strip of 6th Street is like everything's happening at some point, right? But it was so late that it was early. You know what I mean? And so I was walking and finally I passed this taco truck and I was so excited. I was like, yes, finally, food. Because this is now an hour and a half at least after I got to the hotel, which is at least 40 minutes after I landed. So I've been hungry for a day. And I run up to the taco truck and I see that there's bricks on either side of the taco truck. And then I realize that this taco truck is in an alley. I don't know if you've ever had alley food before, but it feels illegal when you ordering it. Cause you're like, why aren't you out? Do you know what I mean? Because I don't even know if I can describe this efficiently or no. The taco truck was basically just like, hey. It wasn't even jutted out or anything. It's literally like in the alley, like, hey, we got tacos. If you hungry. And there's not much space in the alley either. Like I'm leaning up against brick, trying to be like, yeah, let me get a carne asada. I order these tacos. I eat them, and they taste different than I've ever. They're different in flavor than I've ever had before. These are truly alley tacos. I found out what that meant with them, and maybe I wouldn't have even noticed if the packaging had been different. Maybe if I wouldn't have even noticed if this was a parking lot. I'd be like, all right, they're a little dry, but whatever. The fact that it was in an alley, though, I was like, no, I'm gonna die. I got a cactus taco. I remember this like it was yesterday. I got a cactus taco. I got, what was it? I got all vegetarian stuff. I got a cactus, I got a mushroom, and I got this like fried, I guess a fried mushroom as well. And so it was like cactus, regular mushroom, fried mushroom. And I ate all 3 tacos, and they very much taste like the middle of 2 buildings. And Like, even as I was eating it, I was like, this flavor is floor. This is crazy. If I had eaten even 24 hours ago, I would not be eating this right now. But I was like, and I ate it, and I walked back to my hotel, and I laid down. And as soon as I laid down, my stomach was like, don't fall asleep. No, we gonna be up tonight. The worst part is that I had like a roommate in my hotel room because I was there for a festival. So I had a roommate in my hotel room who had got in the day before, so he didn't have any of these problems, right? He's like trying to sleep, and my stomach keeping us both awake. Every time he sort of dozes off, my stomach is snoring, right? And I got so sick. And it was a type of sick where you're not even like throwing up or anything. I was just sitting there sick, right? And I really thought I was gonna die because I started sweating. I was like, that shouldn't happen. It's not hot in here. That cannot be pouring sweat out of my body right now. I clearly ate poison. And he's like, where'd you eat this taco? I was like, it was in an alley. He's like, you ate alley food? He said it like it was a thing he knew about. Like alley food was just part of life. I was like, I didn't know it was alley food until I was in the alley. Don't judge me. I haven't eaten in 36 hours. And then I was just sweating to the point where I thought about going to the hospital. But I didn't out of embarrassment. I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital now and be like, yeah, I think I had some bad tacos. They're like, where'd you eat? I'm like, oh, in an alley. And because I'm not going to lie, at that point, I feel like the hospital going to turn you away. Like, I feel like, no, we not saving him. We only take care of people who don't deserve what happened to them. And so I was sitting there. I was really like pouring sweat, feeling so sick, wishing I was going to throw. Like you almost pray for it. And I was just sitting there, and I turned to my buddy, who's very annoyed with me, because I'm not proud of it. But after a little while, like after the first hour of stomach rumbling, I did start moaning, and and both of us hated that. Like my stomach was like, and then I was like, It was like I was crying, but no tears were coming out. And so I turned to him. I was like, I think I'm gonna die. And under his breath, he's like, just please do it soon. Like, whatever you're gonna do, please just get it out of the way. And I told him, I was like, if I get sick tonight and I die, if anybody asks what happened, tell them I got shot.
And she has blown up. I mean, I'm technically late to the story. Like, she blew up on the news and every platform because everyone thought that she was like the front runner to be Trump's VP pick. And she released a book, to just capitalize on that possibility. Was releasing a book around now. And in the book, she tells a story about shooting her puppy. I know. And when I first heard about it, because I heard about it before I read about it. When I first heard about it, I was like, nobody's that dumb to just volunteer a story about them doing the one thing that'll bum everybody out across America, no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like, and she's telling the story, and she relays the story like a war story or something. And basically, she shot the dog, and then after she shot the dog, she was walking back to her house. I guess very proud of herself. And then she saw her goat, and she was like, I might as well you know, because I got more than one bullet in the... And then she kills her goat. And then she told everyone. And I feel like there's a whole thing of politicians being out of touch, right? Like, you know, like sometimes you'll hear about a politician saying something, doing something, you know. Like a good example is like the way that people were during the pandemic, how they would just be like, oh, well, now's the time to dip into our savings. It's like, what are you talking about, our, right? It's a very out-of-touch thing to say because you as a politician are very rich because every single one of them in Congress, usually at least, engages in some form of insider trading. And very few of them are trying to stop it, you know? So out of touch is one thing. Killing your dog and telling everybody about it. That sounds like somebody that wants to retire but doesn't know how. Like, you know what I mean? Like, political life's a bit much. But when I leave, I want to make sure they don't keep bugging me to come back, you know? I want to make sure when I'm gone, it's for good. Yeah. And she also... She keeps getting banned. There are a lot of reservations in South Dakota. And the leaders of each of these reservations keep voting and passing to ban her from stepping on the reservation. Like, ban her from the premises, which is like a good portion of the state. Like, a lot of... I've never seen somebody get kicked out of outside. Like... You know what I mean? Because at a certain point, you just vote for them to get shot into space or something. Like, this is... Because I respect what the Native people were saying, because she was saying a lot about the reservation. She was saying that that's where all of the crime comes from and that the cartels go through the reservation specifically. And they were like, not only do you not have proof of what you're saying, it's deeply offensive, and you shoot dogs. I don't want you anywhere around my children, my home, or anything. I feel like the only thing to do now is lock her in a room with Biden's dog. And like, just for them to talk. You know what I mean? Just so like, you know, he can probably get through to her better than a human can. Because we already tried talking it out. I feel very blessed to live in this time. You know, I don't know if I lived in any other time if I would have made it. I don't say that in a self-deprecating way. I just I hear stories from my mom, stories from my grandparents, stories from just the past. I watch documentaries and I'm like, sounds rough. Yeah, I mean, and I'm from a rougher time than now because the present is usually better than the past, and it gives you hope for the future and everything. Like I remember when text messages weren't unlimited. I remember when, you know what's crazy? Before text messages were unlimited, there would be a lot of time where I'd want to text somebody. Maybe they were going through something, maybe they were, and I want to text them, but I only had so many. And remember minutes? Remember phone minutes? Okay, if anybody in here is very young, okay, so This is a rough concept to explain because it makes me sound like I'm from when the phone was invented. But for any of the younger people in here, just know that your cell phone, you making all these calls, your phones didn't used to be loose like that. Phones used to be much tighter, okay? Much stingier with time. They basically broke down your phone into minutes, and you had minutes that you could buy. They even broke down the day. Because at first, they charged you for minutes on minutes. Anytime you want to talk for an hour, it was this much you want to talk for. And then eventually, when they realized how to support more phones, they were like, listen, it's 25 cents a minute on your little plan, but everything's free after 5. And back in the day, after 5 o'clock, people's phones would blow up. People would... As soon as it hit 5 o'clock, it's like, I've been waiting to tell you. Like, the amount of times that it was like after 5, and then I got a call that actually was an emergency that I should have been called about at 2, but they didn't want to mess up their plan. So then they were weighing how badly I needed to know. The amount of calls about death I got at 5 p.m. And I'd be like, why do you call me when it happened? He wouldn't be more or less dead if I waited. Why I gotta burn minutes to tell you something that's gonna be true in a couple hours? Oh, it was a terrible time. It was rough. It was really bad. And texting fell under minutes. And so different phone companies had different plans. So for some people, one text was, a quarter of a minute. One text was half a minute. Some people, if they were being very expensive, a text was a whole minute, right? So it could be a very short text. It could be, hey, that's a minute. Which always felt crazy to me as a kid, because I got my first cell phone later than my other friends, because I didn't have money like that. So I had to buy my own cell phone and support it myself with minutes. And I remember I sent a text and it said, hey, and it would tell you how many minutes have been deducted every time you did something. When you get off the phone, it would tell you like that was 4.5 minutes or whatever. And I remember I sent a text message that said, hey, and it said I used a minute. And I was like, no, that wasn't a minute, because hey is hey. Hey, those weren't a minute. That I said hey, I didn't say hey. How was that a minute? How was that a minute? And there was nobody to argue with, because this is what killed me. Because sometimes when you try to call customer service and tell them they mess up your minutes and they deducting wrong and everything, it costs minutes to call them. So now I'm on the phone with them like, y'all need to hurry up and pick up, because it's minutes. Minutes are happening now. And do these minutes count? They're like, sir, these minutes count because you're on your phone. I'm like, no, but I'm talking to you about fixing my phone. They were like, yeah, but you're on your phone. I was like, oh, I think she's trying to keep me on the phone right now. I think she's trying to burn out all my minutes, because then she keep leaving and coming back and leaving and coming. What are you doing? Are you doing errands right now? Why can't you just continue the conversation and answer my question? So she got me burning through minutes. Anyway, text messaging used to sometimes be a whole minute for one text, right? And in a weird way, I wish we could go back to some form of limited text messages. We all get too much. We all get too many. Because this is the other problem with texting that I have now. Now that it's unlimited, people feel like you're obligated to them because they text you, because they feel like it's the same as talking. So as soon as they text you, it doesn't matter when they text you, as soon as they text you, that's like them being like, hey. But when you don't say anything for several hours, like if I said hey to you right now and you just stared at me, it'd be rude. It'd be rude. But you're also living your life. You're not obligated to say hey to me because I said hey to you. You're living your life, right? But then you'll text somebody, especially if it's important. You'll text somebody, and then you'll be like, all right, they'll text me when they get to it. I hope it's soon because this is important. And then maybe you're just on your phone. Maybe you open up Instagram or something, and then you see a new post, and then that new post is less than a minute old. I'm like, okay, that's after I text them, so they on their phone. They on their phone, and then most phones, a lot of those iPhones have that red thing that has red. I don't know why people are snitching on themselves like that. That's crazy. Because sometimes people tell me stuff in a text message I don't want to respond to. So then why would I put read by Josh at 6:03 and now it's 7:42 and they know I read it? And it was important. We need to go back. I don't know. Everything's always about more. Sometimes more is too much. You know, what would our lives be like if there was a limit, a built-in limit, you know, where you could only sin? I'll give you even a wide margin, high ceiling. Let's say 200 text messages in a day. I don't think most people even hit that. 200? But if you live in a hectic life, you know what I mean? 200 is a pretty high ceiling. I had friends being like, no, 200, that's way too low. And I was like, do you go to work? What do you mean low? What are y'all talking about? You know? I think it should be like very low. I think it should be like 25. 25 feels reasonable to me because now there are going to be people who hit you up, who get your number. You don't even know they have a number. They hit you up, and you're like, I'm not going to waste a text on a who is this. Because that's what I used to do during the minutes, right? You used to get a text, you don't know this number, you're like, who is this? Your phone's like, that was a minute. It's like, no, it wasn't a minute, though. That doesn't take that long to say, who is this? I just said, who is this? And they text me. Shouldn't it call? Every time you explain how tech used to work to a young person, I've said this before, but it just feels like the dark ages. Feels like it feels terrible. Like they would also charge you if somebody texts you, and I'm like, that's not my fault. I can't control that over there. Because now you double dipping. It should charge the person who sent the text, and then the person, I'm just a listener. I'm a bystander. I wasted 5 minutes one time not knowing somebody. They were like, hey, how you doing? I was like, who is this? And they were like, it's Greg. I was like, I don't know a Greg. And then they were like, oh, sorry, wrong number. 5 minutes. What is my life? Charging me to open it like it's a secret every time. Your phone used to do that. It used to be a phone you could buy at the Dollar Tree, and then you put like 600 minutes on it thinking that's a lot. That's a lot. 600 minutes. That's crazy. I won't get through that. But then the way they rig it, they send a text message. It says it's from mom because mom is saved in my contacts, right? But then like, damn, can I afford to open it? I'm on my last 3 minutes. Ooh, my last 3 minutes. And it just says mom, and it says unopened. So the phone is coming like, your mom texted you. You feel like knowing what it's about. What if it's an emergency? What if it's important? Go ahead and open it up. It'll just take a minute.
I've been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like, a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting. Like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we've got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like, anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? And then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee and maybe you do it in one lump sum or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I want to be a member of this gym for 40 years. So you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels. We were like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that, like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to, Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay. All right. Well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot. Call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then
And so then what they'll do is they'll call us, and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and that called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so that you end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it clickable. You know what I mean? You gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's like, wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? That's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? He's like, let's get right to it, But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they've come up with tiers. They've come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now. And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we covered the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. It's like I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're going to lie, I got to lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're going to lie, then I got to lie, You're going to lie about the degree you have. I got to lie about having a job. I just got to make sure that we fit each other's, each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is, and that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person after when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks and check fraud was this big thing because people con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once, because you can pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's like, no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. And so then you get all this talking. You get all this genuine quality time together, right? and I like this person. And so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But like, but still, you see these people on this show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you like really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way, and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods, and they chat, and they chat, and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like. You know, sometimes you're watching the show, and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like, they're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you got to understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to like have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone. And you really got to know them. And you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life. And they pick one of those people. So you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice. Or at least the illusion of choice. Because we're like, no, I could get anybody. That's what you think. Because then you match with them and you're like, damn, okay. You know? And it's tough because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe. Or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number. And for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly. And I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like, they were just... They used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, you know, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? This is where I lose you. Okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole survey studies, they've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying like you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life, let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are, by and large, better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that like usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that like we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our you might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to... You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes Whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season of Love is Blind. I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way. Real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right? And the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just, they meet up in the middle, and they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? You know, they propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if